Hey everybody, thanks for joining us and welcome to Money Chat, where we talk all things money, from the economy to entrepreneurs to commodities and so much more. If it relates to your wallet and your well-being, we've got you covered right here on Money Chat. I'm your host, Trina Robinson. Today, we kick things off with Corey Patterson, a highly accomplished, certified public accountant and managing partner at Corey G. Patterson CPA and consulting firm. Now that we're moving through 2026, we might want to get a new perspective on our finances and our taxes. Corey, thank you so much for stopping by. Tell us a little bit about what you do in your firm.
No, absolutely. So what we do more than anything is we try to make sure our clients are well taken care of. We don't want anyone to feel like a number. We don't want it to feel transactional. So what we try to do through the execution of our planning is to make sure that whatever planning we're doing is in alignment with our clients' goals. So no one ever feels like a number, and everything we do is tailor-made to their experience and what they're trying to accomplish.
Phenomenal. Now, I know you have a little bit of a niche with some of your clients that you deal with a lot of athletes. What's that like, and what do you provide to them that a regular old person like me wouldn't get?
So athletes, to be honest, when it comes to the space, there's some complications because they operate in a lot of different areas in terms of where the income is derived from. But one thing that makes athletes very, very unique and makes it exciting is that athletes are really just a business owner. The difference is they are the owner of their own business. So what we try to do is help them understand how to structure their business and the people that they need and the companies that they need to be in alignment with, so that all of their planning and everything that they do, it executes their goals, not only while they're playing sports, but well after, to make sure that we're accomplishing their legacy goals as well.
And that's an important point, because so often you hear of an athlete who made oodles of money, and then at the end of their career, they're dead broke without a dime. So I'm sure that's something you try to avoid for your clients.
That's actually what we try to help out with, right? Realistically saying, if you make a lot of money, you want to have a little fun. So we make sure that when we're kind of in the planning stages, we allocate some money to have a good time, but then we make sure we allocate some money that is going to accomplish their short-term and long-term goals. So whatever they're looking to do in terms of accommodating their real estate needs, any kind of vehicles, anything that they want to do to help their family and things of that nature, that's a part of the planning. But then also long-term, we want to preserve some of that wealth. So we want to put you in positions to where your wealth is not just working for you today, but it's working for you tomorrow as well.
So how do you tell an alpha client, male or female, hey, you can't have that Lamborghini?
Well, we don't. Well, what we do is we come in, and all the clients we work with, it feels very much like family. So I think it's one thing for you to talk to them from a position of like an authoritarian. It's another thing for you to talk to them kind of like, hey, listen, I just want to make sure that we're protecting what you're trying to do, and I'm here to help, and we're all in this thing together. I want to make sure in 20 years and 25 years from now, when we're sitting at the table, we look back and we say, this is exactly what we were trying to do. So we don't try to control them. What we do is try to guide them and put a lot of good information in front of them so they can make an empowered decision, and we can kind of help them on the execution side of that decision. Okay,
so let's flip back to regular old folk like me and the rest of our audience. How do you help them set those long-term goals? And now, since we're, pretty early in the year, this is probably a good time to reflect on where you are and where you've been.
Absolutely. So I think one of the things that we do is we ask you, what are your short-term goals? What are you trying to accomplish in the short term? And then what are you trying to accomplish in the long term? And then we help you execute everything that you need to do in between. So for most individuals, we reflect back on where you were last year. And if you were thinking about buying a home or any major purposes, whatever we're doing on paper needs to be reflective of what you're planning to do next. So we make sure that the things that we're doing from a compliance standpoint is in complete alignment with the things that you're trying to accomplish long term and short. So we just start off with just having a casual conversation to figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it. And then we tell you how to execute it.
Phenomenal. And speaking of home buying, that has become such a challenge. It used to be down in South Florida. You just walk out and get yourself a home if you had the money and if you had the credit score. But now it's become a real challenge. Is that part of the strategic planning, that you get them in a position so they can afford that home?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I think that, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, you don't know what that experience is going to look like. So we try to give a little bit of education to kind of let you know, like, hey, this is what you can expect. This is what they're going to be expecting to see from you, and this is what you're going to have to come to the table with. And this is how we're going to help you to make sure you come to the table with that. And we want you to kind of start looking at some things that you have your eyes on, so that we can make a plan for what you are looking for. Because everything's different. What may work for one person that's trying to get a certain type of home may not work for you. So we want to make sure that our planning is tailor-made for what you are looking for and what you're looking to accomplish.
Is there one key thing that you would tell whether you're a business or an athlete or, you know, an individual that you really should focus on when it comes to your tax strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is the team that you have, because I think that the strategy is only as good as the execution, and the execution is only as good as you trusting your team. So when you're thinking about your tax strategy, you have to think about the people that are on your team that are going to be helping you with that tax strategy, and make sure you trust them. Because if you don't trust them, you might not feel as comfortable having the conversation that you need to tell them what you really want to accomplish, what's really in your heart, what you're really trying to do. So you have to be with someone that feels relatable to you, that you can relate with the way that they communicate with you, and that everything that they're saying is digestible, so you can make an empowered decision and they can help you execute on that decision.
And how do you come about that team, and who should be on that team? Okay, you're an accountant, CPA.
Right.
Who else might need to be on that team for you to be successful?
Great question. So you definitely want to have a CPA like myself on your team, but then you also want to have somebody that's in wealth management, because we work very closely with wealth management. A lot of times people think that the CPA is the one-stop shop, that we do the wealth management, we do your tax planning, we do everything under the sun, which we're the quarterback of your team, and we had a lot of that charge, but we have to bring in other players to make sure we're executing at a high level. So you want to have a CPA, you want to have someone that's in wealth management, and then you may want to have someone on the legal side if we're getting into the world of like trust and things like that, because that trust is going to need an attorney to review it and bylaws and things of that nature. So but between the three of us, we can accomplish a lot of your goals from the financial planning side.
So much now, you know, with the internet and everything, and, you know, YouTube, it's DIY, do it yourself. There's so many things where you can just go and do your taxes. And maybe for some people that might be okay.
Right.
But with the changing tax laws, and I know I was looking over what's in the big, beautiful bill. I mean, there are so many different changes for different people and different phase outs. Can you really trust yourself, if you're not a CPA or a tax expert, to comply with all those laws efficiently on a website?
The short answer is no, because what the website can't duplicate is the human that can kind of interpret what you're trying to say. The website may take you through a series of questions and ask you different things that may come pretty close to what you're supposed to do. But the interpretation of the question and the answer is sometimes the dilemma that would cause not the most ideal output that you're looking for on the return. So I think you still need that human connection to kind of just process the information and be that bridge between technology and what you're actually trying to put in.
So now there are a lot of changes coming this year. How should people attack that?
The first thing is kind of get yourself organized, right? Before you can do anything, you got to kind of get yourself organized, know where you were at last year, organize your documents, put yourself in a position so when you're having that conversation and I start to ask questions, you have enough information to be able to answer my questions. That's very, very important. How are you gonna go about planning for something without having all of your affairs organized, and then using someone like myself who I would ask you a series of questions to say, hey, before our meeting, these are some things that you might want to do leading up to it, just to make sure we have all the information to have a really good, productive meeting. So I think the best thing you could do is just get yourself organized so that we can kind of make sure that we're planning in the right direction.
And I need kind of a quick answer here. How do you avoid overpaying? Paying more taxes than you're really supposed to.
Not doing it by yourself and not trying to use technology to do it, because you don't know what you don't know. So having an expert in the room to help you avoid some of those pitfalls that you might not be able to navigate, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to protect you. I'm here to make sure you pay your fair share in taxes, but you don't overpay.
Okay, quickly tell us how folks can find you.
So you can find me at www.CoreyGPatterson.com, and you can also find me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at CoreyGPatterson.com.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure talking to you. Great information. Our next two guests are from one of the most beloved organizations in the entire country, the Girl Scouts of America. CEO Lisa Johnson and Girl Scout Arabella Kostecki of Troop 14218 in Davie joins us to chat about selling those delicious cookies and also why it's such great training for any young entrepreneur who wants to succeed in business and life later in life. Ladies, welcome so much. It's so great to have you.
Hi.
This is phenomenal. First of all, and I think everybody knows something about the Girl Scouts, but break it down a little bit about the mission of the Girl Scouts and why it's so important for young women to be involved.
Absolutely. So Girl Scouts started in 1912, so we have quite a long history. And from the very beginning, our mission was to build girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. So in a nutshell, what we provide is a safe space where girls feel like they belong. We provide them access to caring and committed adults like our volunteer troop leaders. And we provide them with a supportive peer network, because we know that when girls have all of those things, they are really building that foundation to thrive for the rest of their lives.
And Arabella, tell us a little bit about why you joined the Girl Scouts, how old you are, and what kind of experience has it been thus far?
Yes, I'm 13 years old, and I joined the Girl Scouts when I was a brownie. It's been a really great experience so far, and my favorite activity is selling cookies.
Ooh, you get right to the point, don't you? Okay, the cookies.
Yes.
How do you become successful in selling those cookies? Because I don't want to say it's a competition, but it is a little bit of a competition. Who can sell the most, right? I was a Girl Scout a long time ago.
Yes, so you have to be good at bringing in customers. You have to hold your sign and be like, who wants Girl Scout cookies? And even if you don't like the cookie, you have to say you do.
But I bet you like them all. I know I do, and that's half my problem. I wish I didn't like them so much. They're so good. Let me ask you this. When you go out and sell, do you feel like you're basically getting a skill that you're going to be able to use later in life?
Yes, of course. You learn a lot of business skills and how to talk to your customers, and also how to deal with money and give proper change.
Fantastic. And so Lisa, I know that's one of the big things you guys do. And why is it so important, and why is it so much an integral part of what the Girl Scouts do?
So yes, the Girl Scout Cookie Sale is the largest entrepreneurial program for girls in the world. It is the only program like it where girls are involved in every single aspect of the sale. At the very beginning, before even their sale starts, they're talking to their troops about the kinds of activities they want to do, the kinds of trips they want to take, and the kinds of programs they want to participate in. And from there, they build a plan, they build a budget. From their budget, they start to set their goals for selling cookies. And we say that for every girl, participation in the sale is very individual. Yes, some will compete. They want to be the top seller. They want to hit an extreme team status. For other girls, selling just a handful of boxes. But as Arabella mentioned, learning how to speak to customers, talk to strangers, ask them to support something, make change. Just get out from behind mom and talk to someone at their booth is a huge skill development piece. And I talk to women all the time who are entrepreneurs or in every line of business who say that Girl Scout cookies was their very first opportunity to learn many of those skills.
So you've had some new flavors of late. I know some came on board last year. And what's your latest fabulous flavor?
So our newest cookie is the Explore More, and it is a Rocky Road inspired flavor. It is a delicious sandwich cookie sandwiched between two chocolate cookies. I'm not sure if you would describe it exactly the same way, but it is definitely one of my new favorites.
Oh, I love it. It tastes like ice cream.
Yeah.
Ooh, yum, yum, yum. Now, I know one of the things with Girl Scouts, at least when I was in it, you do certain activities and you'd achieve awards or rewards. You've got a lot of stuff on the back of your jacket. Tell me a little bit about it, and then we're going to have you show.
Okay. My favorite patches is the dinosaur one. The dinosaur one was from when I set a Guinness World Record for being part of the largest gathering of people dressed like dinosaurs.
Way cool. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
How was that organized?
Well, you could come to this city park kind of thing, and they had inflatable dino costumes that you could buy, or you could come wearing your own. And as more people came in, there was I think over 300 people wearing dinosaur costumes.
That's pretty incredible. The Girl Scouts open all kinds of doors.
Yeah.
So Lisa, when a young woman finishes Girl Scouts, if you ever really finish, it's always part of your heart.
That's right.
What do you hope they walk away with?
Well, I think the first thing I hope they walk away with is that sense of sisterhood. The idea that they belong to something that is bigger than even themselves. Many of our girls experience Girl Scouts through troops, and so that may be their first friend network, their first peer network outside of their family or maybe their neighborhood. And so that provides a nice opportunity for them to meet other girls. And what they find when they realize that there's a service unit, there's a council, there's Girl Scouts of the USA, is that this is really a movement. We have more than 59 million alumni, and the fact that there are so many women who were part of Girl Scouts, I think makes you feel like you know you're part of something really special. So we want them to know that.
Well, I'm one of the girls you sent out into the world. I don't know how well I'm doing, but I'm out there. And I know Arabella is going to be phenomenal. She's going to set the world on fire. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us today. We so enjoyed it.
Thank you.
We've been talking a lot about building your finances for a brighter tomorrow. Well, if you bought gold in the last few years, you'd definitely be way ahead in your investments. I talked to Rick Rule of Rule Investment Media on why gold has outperformed almost any other investment last year and whether the price per ounce will continue to climb in 2026. Gold has been such an incredible story, and does it continue to go up from here, or should people take their profits and run?
My belief is that gold moves as a consequence of people's concern about the maintenance of the purchasing power of the US dollar. And given my own belief, which is that the dollar will lose 75% of its remaining purchasing power over the next 10 years, I would suspect that gold has a lot of room to run. Your older listeners, those of my vintage, will remember the decade of the 1970s when the US dollar lost 75% of its purchasing power and the gold price ran 30-fold. That isn't to suggest, by the way, that the gold price runs 30-fold from here. But I would think it's more likely than not that the upside in the nominal, i.e. US dollar quote, in gold, mirrors the continued deterioration in the purchasing power of the US dollar.
Do you anticipate that folks who haven't purchased gold, is it safe for them to jump in? And if they do jump in and you're not an experienced speculator or investor like you are, should you buy an ETF, or are you saying buy physical gold?
I think the question is more answered by time frame. If you're a speculator, if you're attracted by the fact that gold has run hard the last 2 years, you should stay away. If you're somebody like me, who is concerned about the maintenance of their purchasing power, if you think in 2-year or 3-year or 5-year term, I think you have to own gold. I think it's a bigger mistake not to own it than to own it. But it really depends on your reason for buying it.
Is gold a threat to the US dollar, or is it just a hedge against the devaluation of the US dollar and the debasement?
I think that gold will be part of the reduction of the market share of the US dollar in foreign settlements. Worldwide, central banks have been the biggest buyers of gold, partly due, I would suggest, to the weaponization of the US dollar, the extraterritorial imposition of US power on other countries via the SWIFT banking system and via the Treasury, but also because of the lousy arithmetic.
Do you think that the success that silver has seen as of late will mirror the track record of gold, or could it even outpace gold?
I'm uncomfortable getting out on that limb because I don't understand the silver market. Here's what I do know.
You don't understand the silver market?
Well, I don't know the why part of it.
Okay.
I know that in 3 bull markets in my lifetime, when the momentum established by gold attracted the generalist investor to the precious metals narrative, when the generalist investor came into market, silver began to dramatically outperform gold. I can't tell you why. Perhaps it's the lower unit cost. Perhaps it's the reputation for volatility. Perhaps it's both.
One of the things we talked about 2 years ago, and you were already suggesting that it was a good play, was uranium. And that has really proved to be correct as well. But is the play for uranium starting to fade somewhat? Because it seems like a lot of folks are in it now.
Again, that depends on your time frame.
Okay.
When you and I were talking, and even a little before that, uranium was hated. And the easiest move in speculation is the move from hated to tolerated, because you take away a bunch of the sellers. You just take away the sellers. The groundswell of buying is there, but you eliminate the sellers. You eliminate the hate. That moves over. So for traders, the uranium trade's yesterday's trade. For investors, the structure of the uranium market with term contracts, with supply shortages, with people building reactors like mad, for investors, uranium very, very, very much game on. But speculators seem to have trauma holding stock over a long weekend. Those folks probably should exit the uranium trade.
Okay. Are there any other opportunities out there in precious metals or commodities or natural resources that you really like today?
I do. I'm perpetually early. You need to understand that. But I love the oil and gas business. It's a big business. It's a good business, and people hate it. As recently as 3 years ago, the then president of the United States said that we would reach peak oil demand in 2030, which suggested that the oil and gas business didn't have much future. I think peak oil demand doesn't occur in my lifetime. For the record, I'm a very healthy 72-year-old. I think it probably doesn't. I think it probably doesn't occur in your lifetime. People say, "Well, Rick, what about alternative energies? Wind and solar and stuff like that." And I point out to them that the International Energy Agency suggests that in the last 45 years, we spent $11 trillion on alternative energy. And we've reduced the market share of fossil fuels from a high of 83% all the way down to 81%. There's something about that arithmetic that tells me that we're going to be in the oil and gas business for a very long time. Meanwhile, it today is hated in the way that both silver and uranium were in the past. And I love that move from hated to tolerated.
Are there companies that folks could look at easily, because like we have a general audience. We're not, the nitty gritty people that you usually talk to. Where would you say to look for a good oil and gas company right now?
You don't need to get fancy. Look on a corner near your home. Exxon. I believe that Exxon is selling at a 40% discount to what it's worth at today's oil price.
40%.
And I think oil prices over the next 2 or 3 years go up 30, 40, or 50%. The idea, the idea that you can exercise a strategy in a hated commodity with the best company in the sector, 30 years is the best asset allocator in the sector. A company that is making sustaining capital investments today while it's unpopular. A company that size that has a discovery or series of discoveries in Guyana that actually move the dial on Exxon, you don't need to get fancy. You don't need to come down into the small caps or the micro caps. Buy the biggest, buy the best, enjoy a 4% dividend, and let history take its course. Nothing fancy. Exxon.
And what about Chevron then? Is that a different kind of company?
Yeah, not as good a history. I suggest in asset allocation, a very good company nonetheless. One could argue, Buffett does, a better franchise in refining and marketing. I just look at Exxon's strength upstream, and I look at the fact that while the industry as a whole worldwide is deferring $2 billion a day in sustaining capital investments, Exxon is making those investments. I have nothing against Chevron. In fact, I own Chevron. But the value is so compelling in Exxon, I just think, why get fancy? Another name that's probably worth mentioning for people who want to take risk, although you don't need to, is Occidental Petroleum, Warren Buffett's big bet.
Yes.
This has a bit of a strained balance sheet, as we saw with the recent transaction of them selling some assets to Buffett to raise some money. But it probably has the largest inventory, other than Exxon, of high-quality, proved undeveloped locations in the United States.
Mr. Rule, it's always an absolute pleasure and education. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you. I look forward to being invited back.
Money doesn't guarantee happiness, but it does provide tranquility, security, and some peace of mind. Learn to use it wisely. Until next time, we hope to see you right here on Money Chat. I'm your host, Trina Robinson.